So you've seen someone in the street, on YouTube, with something that looks like this, or similar, and you've seen that it can produce clouds.
You don't need me.
Huh?
You don't need me.
I don't need you?
Why? Why?
Fuck. My shisha pen is shit. Here's how you do it. The first thing you're going to need is a mod. A piece of steel tubing that will hold a battery, such as an 18650 E-Fest. This is the Hammer mod clone, which cost me £25 from Amazon. This is all the different components you'll need in your mod to be able to use a RDA, a rebuildable dripping atomizer. Most importantly, you'll need a thread, and it has to be 510 thread if the RDA you've chosen is 510. One of the most important things you're going to need is a battery. Now, this mod that I got, the Kami K101, which is the one I showed you at the start of the video, came with a battery, but it is a piece of crap. It doesn't hold its charge, and it can be dangerous if used with the incorrect resistance coil. Instead, go with something like an E-Fest or a Sony VTC3, 4 or 5, and you'll be a lot safer basically. These are 3.7 volt. I've got a 35 amp, and in this one I have a 20 amp. That's kind of important because that is how much power is going to be drawn from the battery depending on what coil you've got, but we'll get to that. One of the most important things I must stress is the battery. You have to make sure your battery is safe, or it can vent and you can get a whole host of problems, which you just don't want and you don't need, providing you know what you're doing. Some more things you're going to need is some 28 gauge Canthal wire, a mini screwdriver, a pair of tweezers, a larger screwdriver, an RDA, the whole thing, so that's the top casing, the drip tip, and the actual 3-post RDA itself with the coils that you make from your wire. And I'll get to that bit now. The second most important thing with this mod is to check the resistance on a resistance meter or an ohm meter. Now this is coming out at 0.55, so that's less than 1 ohm. And to put that into some kind of perspective, the shisha pen clearomisers that you get as standard, 3 to 4 weeks, and they need to go in the bin because they start to have a bit of a burnt taste to them. They generally read at about 4 ohms. This isn't 3 ohms, it isn't 2, it isn't 1, it's less than 1. It's half of 1 ohm, it's 0.55. So it's slightly a little bit more than half of 1 ohm, which some people will consider dangerous on a battery like that. Because what that means is as you press the button and fire these coils, it will draw all the power from the battery in one short, sharp burst to the coil, creating heat. And then when you drip directly over the coil, hence the name RDA, rebuildable dripping atomizer, when you press the button, all the power comes out straight up through the positive, which is the center post, the outer two are negative posts, and it creates a current. Now your resistance, it depends on how many wraps you do and what you wrap it around basically, so the dimensions, hence why we would use something like a mini screwdriver, which generally do come with the RDA. Anyway, without being boring, if your resistance is too low, if this goes below say 0.2 and I use a crap battery or even a decent battery and I press the button, I could be drawing all of its energy out in one short sharp burst, which I've been told is like putting a fork in a toaster. You don't want it to happen. You don't want your battery to vent. You don't want it to explode. You do not want your mod to turn into shrapnel as it's in your mouth, okay? So that's the second thing you must be aware of when building. To build a basic coil, I'm just going to cut myself a piece of 28 gauge Canthal wire, just like that. And then I'm basically going to do 5 wraps, which will take me to about 1 ohm. And I know that because I've done this previously and that's what I've got. If I do 2, which is called a dual coil, it will come out at half. So I should end up with 5, or in this case 5.5 ohms, which is safe. Basically, you want to wrap this and you want to wrap it tight. You've seen all the videos. It doesn't have to be too tight because you can heat it up at the end to take the tension out. So just do 5 wraps like that. Like I say, it doesn't have to be too tight. You can tug it with the pliers, etc. If you choose to, just to tension it up. And there you have a coil. All you do is you take your coil, you unscrew the 2 posts, as you need a positive and a negative to get the current to flow. On this one I have 3 posts, and on this RDA I have 4, as I've got a quad coil in this one. But it doesn't matter. All you do is you put them in centre first and the outer post second. Tighten them down, not too much because you don't want to snap the wire. The excess wire you can just trim off. Another important thing, the excess wire that's poking out at the back mustn't touch the top of the screw, the side of the RDA or the base, as it can potentially cause a short. Once you've got your coil all screwed down, you can assemble your mod, which you only need to do the once. This coil can be cleaned, okay? All we're going to do is heat it up and run it under some water. That is all. You don't even need to do that. I've had the same coil for about 2 months and I've never had any reason to change it. Okay, so we've got the battery in there, the nipple end, okay, and the flat end. The nipple end is the positive, so that always goes in first, okay? If it hasn't got a nipple like this, it will have a circle. We call that a nipple. Anyway, that goes in first. Then we'll put your firing button on, which is just spring loaded. And then we'll put the RDA base cap on with the 510 thread that we spoke about earlier. Sorry if my camera's not in focus. And then I will take the RDA that we've just built that comes out at 5.5 and I will screw that on. Now this is your mod coming together, okay? So these coils are the ones that are 2 months old, okay? I just made the coil here to demonstrate how you make it. Now, if my camera focuses, you'll see that they are actually black. And that's just because of all the different types of juice I use. They are black, and that is because of all the different types of juice I use. To clean these coils, all you do is remove the cotton, which I've done here. It's just cotton wool that's been soaked. I've just removed it, and all you do is fire it. You're burning off all of that crud, all of that crap. But this is why it's dangerous. This is why people say it's dangerous. And as you can see, they're not black anymore. They're going back to their original colour. Now what you could do is fire it and just pulse it just a few times and then give it a wipe, say with a tissue or a wet wipe, or even run it under the tap. I've seen people do. But that's unnecessary. Now all you're going to do once you've got to this stage is you're going to get your cotton, which I've pulled out, so this is probably needs to go in the bin now because I'm never going to get that back through the holes. But I will try and show you the end result. So it turns out that I'm actually a legend and I've got it back in. So at this stage, all you'd want to do is get your juice. This is just homemade juice. And you just drip that directly over the coil and on the cotton, and you just basically want to saturate. You don't want to soak it because it will starve it. It won't be, the cotton won't be able to soak up the juice properly. So yeah, just a few drops, and then fire it, and you should start to see vape. Plenty of vape coming off that. And when you mix this with air, you get lots of vape. Which brings me to the final bit of the RDA, which is the top cap. Now this one is a posh one. It's got adjustable airflow. By twisting this, you close these holes. The more open you've got the holes, the more air you're getting. Now they don't all have that. This was the first RDA I got, and I had to drill holes because the holes it had was so small. I wasn't getting big clouds. So I went for a better model, and it came with a drip tip, but it's horrible. So I bought a separate drip tip for this model, which just plugs on there. So what you do is you get your air holes in line with your coils, okay? So as you suck in, you draw air through the hole, over the coil, and then you suck it straight out the tube. So what you do is you put that on there, line it up, that's it, you're finished, you're done. You don't need to do anything to this apart from charge the battery on a regulated charger, not a Chinese piece of shit like this. You don't want this, this is crap. I've got an actual charger that I use in the other room, but that's it, you're done. All you need to do is drip. And drip. And to drip, all you do is take that off and you just drip. It's that simple. Your coils will get hot, so be careful. And if you are running dry, if you forgot to drip and you're still puffing, don't think, oh shit, I'm going to burn my cotton. You will burn your cotton, but you'll taste it before you ruin it. It tastes disgusting. It's like licking burnt toast. It really is bad. Now, you can have a fire. If I press this button and hold it, and keep holding it, I'll either vent my battery, and it will just blow up. Or, if I pulse it, eventually I'll burn off all of that liquid, and these coils will, this cotton, will catch fire. With the cap on, obviously, fire needs oxygen. So providing your air holes are small like this, you'll be fine, you'll just get a burnt taste. But as for danger, at this stage, you're fine. Keep your battery charged, okay, and keep dripping, and you can produce clouds like this. Or even like this.
So all you want to do is you want to warm up the coil, so get it nice and hot, so you're not waiting forever for it to warm up in your mouth. And here's the problem with these, you can't do a normal hit like this, because you get nothing. You have to take it directly down, so it has to go directly down to your lungs. Now, if you use juice that's high in VG, you won't get like a throat hit. It feels smooth. You won't get a coating of film. I use 100% VG now, which is what's in that bottle. I just haven't changed the label yet. As I make the juice with a little bit of menthol crystal, so you can make your own high VG menthol juice. To your own taste, and it works. The higher the VG, the more clouds you get, and the tastier whatever flavour you use with it becomes, because it's thick. It's like honey. But that's it, and I hope that was a little bit informative. I don't know if it was or it wasn't. If it helped you, please leave a comment. Let me know how you got on. Cheers. Whatever you do, don't forget to drip. And don't let your coil run dry, because this is what will happen. Yeah.